Does your character live in a cold and snowy area of the world? Have they found themselves in a survival situation? Do they need to stay warm in sub-zero temperatures? How can they utilize snow, most often one of the greatest resources at hand? Learn about all this and more on today's episode. Welcome to Writing Rule with Allie, the Fiction Writer's weekly inspiration station for real life and lifestyles, from historical to post-apocalyptic, helping you bring your rule stories to life. I'm Allie, and this is episode number 91, Top 5 Survival Uses for Snow. Stick around to the end to find out all the ways things could possibly go wrong. Now, let's get into this. Number 1, Igloo. One of the most basic needs of survival is a shelter for protection from the elements and predators. Igloos fit the bill and have been around since caveman times, originating from the Inuit tribes. Yes, there is more in one of these types of tribes. Many people believe they used igloos as their homes all year round. But as far as I can tell, that's not true. They were used more for hunting and fishing trips, or as a home during the winter months. These are normally longer-term shelters. Igloos are essentially domes of ice that have been constructed from blocks of snow in the shape of bricks and stacked up to make a dome. These bricks are most often a trapezoid shape with a hexagon keyhole at the top. They are not packed by the person, but cut out of the already naturally packed snow and stacked from there, at least traditionally. I do know that they can be constructed. There will also be a raised platform inside of the igloo for people to sleep on. Since hot air rises, your character will want to be in the warmer air. Now, how does this all work? Great question. The packed snow acts as an insulation to the outside world. Your character will be the human heater. Okay, yes, your character can make a fire on the inside if there is a vent hole, but I have to admit, I have no idea how the vent hole actually works, and frankly, most of the places, not all, that igloos have been made don't have a lot of trees, hence why they are built out of snow. The inside of an igloo can be up to 40 degrees warmer than the outside. That might not sound like a lot, but it has been keeping people alive for thousands of years. Wind chills can be dangerous and lead to frostbite and hypothermia. If you'd like to learn more about hypothermia, I have a whole episode on it. There are many things that you can use an igloo for in your stories. These include, but are not limited to, a home, a base camp when hunting and fishing, shelter when ice fishing, emergency shelter, temporary housing, a gathering place in a village or for a family, storage of equipment or food to stay out of the elements and away from predators, a resting spot on a journey or even a quest, shelter for cooking or preparing food out of the elements, animal shelter for animals such as a dog sled team, and more modern ideas include educational purposes such as teaching students, tourism. This makes a great setup for a romance story. Also, an observation post for studying wildlife. Number 2, pillar for signal fire. If your character is lost and is trying to signal for help, fire is the most common method to get help. That has been used since the discovery of fire and will likely be used long after the apocalypse. The higher up the fire is, the further the light will reach. At least in theory. A dense forest area could make this difficult to see even in the best of circumstances. And then, they are more likely to see the smoke of the fire. One way to get the fire higher is a snow pillar. Okay, I know you're thinking the same thing as I did. But Allie, snow melts when it gets hot. Yes, it does. But there are ways to slow that down because your character doesn't want to put the fire out with melted snow. Some of the ways this can happen is with an insulating barrier. Logs or branches are the most common. Evergreen branches would be very good. The moisture content in them is high, and it would be difficult to light on fire, keeping the insulation between the fire and the snow. Also, the temperature can play a role. If it is consistently below freezing, there is a chance that it won't melt. Wind is another. A wind chill that refreezes the snow before it can put out the fire keeps the fire going. A mix of temperature and wind is the most common thing to help with this. Number 3, snow cave. Snow caves are temporary shelters usually used in survival situations. This takes less skill than constructing an igloo. A snow cave is a cave type of structure dug out of a snowdrift or snowbank that a person can burrow into. These are usually only for 1 or 2 people. They are made small so that it is the easiest to heat with body heat because there is less space that needs to be heated. A few things to note. A snow cave is made small, and there will not be a lot of turning room. Another thing is that unlike the igloo, there is no platform, and the cave entrance will need to be blocked to stop the outside air from getting in. This can be done with a backpack, or even some branches from the outside can be pulled over the entrance. A couple of downsides of the snow cave are that they are not as structurally safe as igloos and could collapse on your character. Although, from what I know, a collapse usually happens during the digging and not after they are inside the cave. Also, since there is no ventilation, it's possible for condensation to build within the snow cave, making things wet. And we all know how deadly being wet can be in freezing temperatures. Number 4. Puts out fires, or fire control. Snow is frozen water and, as such, is great for putting out fires, or stopping it from spreading. This is a method that has been used since fire was discovered. First, snow can be thrown on a fire to put it out. This is great for campfires, but could be used for other things. Although, I have to admit, tossing snowballs at a house fire is unlikely to do much good. Snow can, however, be used to prevent the spread of fire. This can be done by adding it around a campfire, making a fire break, or even helping with a controlled burn. Controlled burns are used by farmers to this day and will likely be used after the apocalypse. Not only does the ash from the fire add nutrients to the soil, but it gets rid of any weed problems and destroys the weed's seeds. Number 5. Reflector of Heat. Yes, snow can be useful for reflecting heat from a fire. I know, it sounds crazy, but trust me, it works. You see, heat from the fire is called radiated heat. With the highly reflective surface of the white snow, the majority of that heat is reflected off of the snow. Yes, heat will melt the snow if it is too close. But if the fire is higher up than where the snow will be melting, or if it is far enough away not to melt, then this is very useful. So why is it important to survival? Because your character wants to retain as much heat as they can on cold winter nights. If your character digs an area out of the snow to make a windbreak to reflect the heat off the fire, they have upped their chances of survival. This is helpful to survival stories and even people who live in non-traditional homes, such as tents, teepees, lean-tos, caves, and more. Fun fact! During World War II, there are accounts of soldiers in snowy terrains making snow caves as a survival technique and as a way to let the troops rest and regroup. One quick reminder before we get to the best part. To help others find this content, pop on over to Apple Podcasts and leave me a review. Or, if you're watching on YouTube, drop me a comment and say hi or ask a question. These are the best ways to help others find my content. Now, for everyone's favorite part, what could possibly go wrong? Likely to go wrong. Your character was not careful as they were digging a snow cave and it collapses before they are done digging. Also likely to go wrong. Your character uses snow to reflect the heat of a fire back at them. However, they made the fire too close to the snow, and as it warms, it melts and drips down onto the fire, extinguishing the flames. Possible to go wrong. Your character has no idea how to make an igloo and tries to cut powdery snow to make the bricks for an igloo. As they lift the powdery snow, it crumbles in their fingers. Powdery snow does not stick together well. Also possible to go wrong. Your character tries to make a signal fire on top of a snowbank. They place the fire directly on top of the snow. As the fire starts, it melts the snow under it and the flames sink into the water, putting out the fire. Unlikely to go wrong. Your character hears that snow can help control a fire. They decide to burn off a field in a controlled burn. However, there is not enough snow to control the spread, and it soon grows into a wildfire. Also unlikely to go wrong. Your character makes a signal fire on top of a snow heap. They use tires to elevate the fire. However, tires burn, and soon the platform is also on fire. Improbable, but still technically in the realm of possibilities. Your character is cooking over an open fire outside and has a grease fire. They try to put it out with snow. Just like with water, this only causes the fire to get bigger and could burn your character or even light something on fire. Before we go, don't forget my extended Black Friday gift. If you email me at Alley@alleyhart.com, that's ALLEY at ALLEYHART. Yes, I intentionally left the E out of heart. and type in free 1-year membership. I will send you a free link to join my Buy Me a Coffee membership. My membership includes exclusive behind-the-scenes access to my projects, opportunities to influence the content that you want to see, bite-sized pieces of rural wisdom, and unique and entertaining personal stories that you won't find anywhere else. I hope to see you all there. Thanks for listening. Until next time, happy wordsmithing!